Welcome to our podcast, Parenting by the Pint. Enjoy the show.
Greetings, Minivan Mafia. Lauren and I are longtime friends from Chicagoland that love getting together to chat about life, kids, family, and beer.
Each week, we'll feature a brewery and sample at least 2 of their beers.
We'll also discuss a variety of topics ranging from parenting, pop culture, travel, marriage, and just about anything else that comes to mind. Welcome back, everybody. Here we go with another fun-filled episode.
Yay! Hi, everybody.
Hey, Lauren. How you doing today?
I'm good.
Good. So, we went clear across the globe for our last visit,
time.
And we're going to come back to right in our backyard and drink Imperial Oak from Willow Springs. This place has a special place in my heart because it's the first beer I put in my Keyser.
Oh, yeah.
We're not drinking that tonight.
No,
I'm
no.
sorry.
No.
But they probably had it because they always have it.
Yeah.
It was a gin barrel-aged Saison. It was awesome. It took me forever to drink it because my husband didn't like it.
It's unfortunate.
But that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
No.
It was delicious.
Yes.
We're not going to have that because I tried to grab on my most recent visit some more kind of like a little bit more standard stuff.
Nice.
So we're going to start with Crank It Hype, which is their New England IPA. And me and Lauren have love New England IPAs. So we're going to be very critical. No, maybe. I mean, we're definitely going to tell you,
for sure,
if this is the best one I've ever had in my life, you're going to hear
I'll
it.
tell you,
I'm going to
yeah.
say that. So, and I'm also
There's
not
that
going to say it.
aroma.
Oh, yeah?
I like it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I do love that. Yes.
There it is. The thing you're always hoping for.
I do. I don't know. I went from not liking beer at all to liking flavorful beer.
It's pretty good, right?
It's very good. It's really creamy.
I was just about to say, is it a smidge light on the carbonation and it feels a bit creamier than...
It feels creamier than whatever
I
the
didn't-
last one I had was.
I know, it's
yeah.
been a little while, even for me, and I have a pretty decent stock in my fridge right now.
Yeah.
I bought a 4-pack of this and I had not had any.
Oh, nice.
I was, I don't know, distracted by some random hop butcher or something. So
Fair, yeah.
this didn't catch my eye, and so I hadn't yet had one, but I will be drinking the other ones.
No, it's really good. It's a bit creamier than I expected, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it definitely is on the creamy side
Yes.
for this style, I think.
Yes. Is it the best New England IPA I've ever had? I mean, I don't like to really... Lauren and I had a conversation earlier tonight about saying something is the best.
Yeah.
We really read a list of, quote-unquote, the 5 best breweries in Illinois, and
We
I could make an argument
disagreed with...
about every single one of them not being deserving.
Yeah.
And...
So what are the criteria for best? I mean, there's so many different styles. There's it's yeah. Is this the best New England I've had? No, but it's very good.
It is very good, and it's true to the style, and I feel the same way about breweries. I think that you can make the argument that a lot of breweries are fantastic in different ways. I would point out, and not to get controversial, but that there was a brewery on the list, Goldfinger. Goldfinger is well known
for what they
German
do.
beer styles, and very appreciated for that.
Oh, 100%.
But if you're making a list of the best breweries in Illinois and you put Goldfinger on it, one of the criteria cannot be a wide variety of beers.
They're very good at what they do, but they are limited in their variety of styles that they make.
That does not mean they are not knocking it out of the park, and I feel that way about a lot of breweries. You find that they're very, very good at particular things, and that maybe they're the best at that thing.
Yeah. They stick with one style that they do well, and they do it well, and I can't besmirch them for that, but they're not where you go for a lot of different styles. When I go into a tap room and they have 12 IPAs and like one other thing, that to me is not a variety. That means that you're just really good at this one beer
And that's
style,
okay.
which is okay.
I like
Yeah,
IPAs.
totally fine. But then you're good at that.
But I will be honest with you. If you have 12 IPAs and one other beer, I will be tasting that one other beer.
100%. Yes, for sure.
For sure. It'll be the first pour.
Yes.
And then I will drink one of your IPAs.
Yes.
I will look at the list and I will pick out the hops I like the most.
Yep, agreed.
And I will go with that.
Yep, no, totally agree. But I love going into breweries or tap rooms that have a bunch of different beer styles. And maybe they're not the best at that, but I love that they're trying something different and they're branching out. And I don't know. Anyways, we'll have a whole conversation about
I could go both ways on that
So
topic.
anyways, we're
yeah,
moving on. But this is a very good beer. It's a very good representation of the beer style for sure. It's very tasty, and I will happily drink this. So, Imperial Oak, we've visited before. So, just as a reminder, they are again out of Willow Springs, so in the suburbs. They were started back in 2014. It was a vision of course, two home brewers who met at a home brewing club and met their third owner at a craft beer bar. So Grant, Brett, and Chris were the ones that started in 2014. Chris was the partial owner and manager of a bar called Brixie's in Brookfield.
Oh, yes. I know Brixie's. I've been
is
to
no
Brixie's.
longer.
I know.
But
That's
so
because-
technically they sold Brixie's to Imperial Oak, which is now where their second location is. So it took over the space and it turned it into a second brewery location in 2021. Brixie's essentially didn't survive the pandemic, realistically.
I
and
recall.
so it's rebirthed into a second Imperial Oak location. So
I can't complain about that. That's great.
yeah,
I
so-
was lucky enough to visit Imperial Oak, I don't know, a few weeks ago when I picked up these beers, and it was really nice to visit. I had not been to Imperial Oak in a long time.
I haven't been there in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And which is a shame because it's kind of on my route home.
Okay.
It's a very easy place for me to meet up with someone that's maybe coming from
Sure.
northwest suburbs or Elmhurst or even the city
Yeah.
if they live in a similar
Suburb
direction.
somewhere. Yeah.
And that's basically what happened is I met a friend who lives in Brookfield and
nice.
she met me and she was working from home. And so she met me there.
Oh, cool.
It was an easy trip for her. I was on my way home. It was
Nice.
great.
Awesome.
And really nice to catch up, but also really
Yeah,
nice to
visit.
visit Imperial Oak. One of the things I like about Imperial Oak is they have a full bar.
Yeah.
Not many breweries do.
It's difficult for me to drag my husband out to a brewery because he does not drink beer. So it is really nice when I find a place that also has a bar so that he
Yes.
can order his drink while I drink beer. So that's definitely one of the, it's a perk for me, for sure.
Very often something I mention about Imperial Oak because I feel like it's a huge draw. It turns that place into a bit more of a bar environment than just a brewery
Yeah.
environment, and
Agreed.
it's a good thing, and I mean that in a
Oh
good
yeah, it's
way.
a positive. I agree. Yeah. No, I'll have to make a trip sometime soon. So
Yeah, speaking of
agree.
trips, let's talk
Yeah.
about stuff that we like to travel for. So we just had this eclipse, and as someone who was not in totality and did not travel to view totality, I could describe the experience as what the young people would call mid.
yes.
It was mid,
Yeah.
you guys. It was fine. I sat in my front yard for like an hour.
Yep, same.
And I watched this black circle cover this yellow circle most of the way. And I didn't go blind or destroy my retinas,
No.
and neither did any of my children, which I'm pleased about.
Agreed. But it was a bit anticlimactic.
It just wasn't super exciting.
Yeah.
It like got a tiny bit darker, I think. And I also
Yeah.
didn't notice because I had sunglasses on and someone had to tell me. And I was like, oh, and then I took my sunglasses off and I was like, oh, sure, I guess.
But
it's like a
not
little.
the same. Yeah.
It was like gloomy out.
It did look like it did just kind of look gloomy out. Like it would have been the same as if it were cloudy.
If it was overcast,
wasn't-
which
yeah,
it was
exactly.
today.
Right. So it's the same. It wasn't drastic. Yeah. My son came home and he was like, I was disappointed. And I was
My
like,
kids were really enjoyed it and loved it. And I think it's probably partly because they had never experienced an eclipse before, because
yeah.
I didn't take my oldest out of school to see the last one, and my youngest
2017.
was like
Oh my God.
3
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever. So
Yeah,
I
too
just
young
left
to
him
care.
inside. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No, my
But yeah.
children were a bit disappointed. They had an assembly at school. The whole schools were outside watching it. So they did
really
do
cool.
it, because I was going to pull them if they weren't, but they got everybody glasses, did a big thing, all of that, learned about what the eclipse was, had a whole science lesson about it, and
Nice.
then went outside to watch it. But I think that my twins were, they definitely would have appreciated totality far more than this. It was
my
a bit
oldest bamboozled me. His school did go outside to
Oh.
watch the eclipse. He did not share that information with me until after I had already picked him up from school. I was leaving with him, and it came up in some fashion.
Yeah.
I don't recall exactly
Sure,
how. But he was like, oh, yeah, I didn't get the glasses yet at school. They weren't handing them out until the afternoon when we were going to go outside. And I was like, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And he's like, for the eclipse. And I was like,
That's why I'm
took
here.
you out of school
Yeah.
for the eclipse. You were going to watch it at school? And he was like,
Just
yeah.
left you there.
And I'm like, why did you make me take you out of school? And
Yeah.
he was just like, I wanted to go home. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, thanks. You got me.
In hindsight, I feel like I should have gone to totality. Only because it was so very close.
Yeah.
So very close.
Yeah,
But-
I mentioned to my nephew over the weekend that this is something that makes me think I should get a pilot's license so that I can just fly somewhere
quickly
to do something like this without having to sit in 10 hours of traffic.
I have a bunch of friends who drove back roads home from Indiana,
And it wasn't
took
that bad.
45 more minutes than normal.
That's what I read online too.
So
it
there
was all
a
the Facebook
bunch of
posts.
people that were like, just don't get on 65. As long as you don't get on 65, you won't have a problem. And
Yes.
so unfortunately, I did
That
not
didn't
plan
really
for
play out
this.
the way I would have liked. I did notice that I know Indianapolis Speedway had an event, and that would have been cool.
Yeah.
However, there was a Cleveland Indians baseball game, and if I had to do anything, I would have gone to that baseball game.
That would have been
because
cool.
how
Yeah.
fun would that be?
Yeah, a whole
to be at a baseball
stadium
game
full of people.
and then
Yeah.
watch the eclipse.
That's cool.
Darken the entire
Yeah.
stadium, and they'd turned off all the lights, and
That would be pretty cool.
That would have been
And
awesome.
Cleveland looked amazing, the pictures I saw from
Yes.
it. The other place that looked really cool was Niagara Falls.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
Ugh.
yeah.
Yeah, but I bet you the odds of it not being cloudy in Buffalo are really low.
Oh, yeah.
I would guess that
Oh,
was
that's
just
fair.
really fortunate
Yes.
that it wasn't, because
Yeah.
it's the type of place that would be overcast.
Well,
I bet
even
you it
here,
is.
we were like, it's going to be cloudy.
I know, I
Which
half
is the
expected
only
that.
reason, me and my husband were like, man,
Let's just
maybe
not
we'll pull the
bother.
kids. And then we were both like, it's probably going to be cloudy anyway. So, I mean, it's a crapshoot. It always is. But now my kids are like, all right, when's the next one? Can we find it?
Right. So
And now,
let's talk about that. So the
Yeah.
next eclipse is in South America,
Mm-hmm.
but the next one I'm interested in going to is in 2026, and it's got the weirdest
It does.
path ever.
Yeah.
It goes over Greenland and then curves over a little bit of Iceland and then curves down into Europe and crosses through the middle of Spain and then ends right north of
Mm-hmm. And
Africa.
then it's done.
Yeah.
yeah. It's so weird.
And so I proposed to Lauren, and
Mm-hmm.
we have definitely not ruled out this plan, a August 2026 trip to Majorca.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of a better place to be
I
than
think
on
that-
the balcony of my
And
beachfront
it's
hotel.
supposed to be close to sunset.
I know.
So it'd be like a perfect time The pictures would be amazing.
I know I'm gonna have to buy a real camera before that trip.
I'll just learn what exposure I need to process it at.
Well, you're gonna learn that.
I'm gonna learn it
we're
for
gonna
next
go on our
year,
Yellowknife trip.
Yeah, so I need to
and you're
practice.
gonna get good at that.
Yeah.
And then this will be
exactly.
nothing.
It'll be great. But yeah, it's
so you
definitely
have plenty of time.
But yeah, the twins are very much like, so we're going to Spain in 2026.
I mean, the beauty of that is that
it's an option
over the summer.
Yes.
So you can plan like a family vacation.
Yes.
And then end in Majorca.
Yeah.
Or somewhere.
Sure.
You know, like that can be a good part of that trip.
Yeah. And then hop back to the mainland and fly home. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's definitely an option. It's definitely
so we're not gonna rule
on
that
the
out.
radar. I then looked at future ones just to see. 2031 is Costa Rica.
Okay.
Which is, you know.
Okay. That's
good.
not impossible.
That's not impossible at all.
I'll still be alive then.
Yeah. 2045, 44, that one my children may no longer want to travel with me. However, it goes through Glacier National Park.
You told me that.
It's
like the Canada circle-y one, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, and then there is a big U.S. one again that goes from like California through Orlando, right? But it's like...
Yeah,
when is it?
That one's a while. It's not through my list.
Dead, right?
We're probably going to be... Yeah, it's not...
I want to... If I recall, it's like 30 or 40 years
it's
from now.
Farther past that. I only went 20 years out. So yeah. So that's there's a bunch. There's like 3 through Australia in the next like 10 years.
I can't go to Australia.
No,
man.
I'm not. My children would not survive that flight, or one of us. Somebody
That's
would
the first
survive that
obstacle.
flight.
The second one is that everything that there
wants
is
to kill
meant
you?
to kill you.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't,
agreed.
and I don't need to be killed while staring at the sun.
That's fair. My top option is definitely Spain, and then there's always the option of Costa Rica Costa Rica.
Yeah, that's not bad. My brother went to Costa Rica in January and really enjoyed it.
Oh, nice.
He did say he had to rent a car and the driving was kind of treacherous. He did kind of make that note.
Okay.
I don't know if he feels like you could avoid renting a car if you were going to travel the country.
Yeah, I feel like that's
but
necessary
I think
evil,
if you could, my attitude is often in foreign countries, especially
if
after
you can
my
take
Italy
public
trip,
transportation,
don't rent a car.
if at all possible. Yeah. But those
unless you must.
the future eclipses are definitely on the list of possible reasons.
Yeah, and I think that's a fun reason to go on a trip. And I think, you'll maximize out the jealousy of all of your friends.
Yeah, I could
that sort of
definitely do
thing.
this. It's definitely in contention. So
Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that idea. I think that Spain will be very, very popular for that reason. So it's going to be, we'll get there, Lauren, but it's going to be the type of thing where like literally the moment you can plan the trip, you have to plan the trip.
Totally agree. Yeah.
But we got 2.5 years. So you have a year to just sit around and plan your trip down to the minute, which is what you and I are both going to do.
Anyways,
and full disclosure, plan your own vacation. I'll see you in Majorca.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
we
fine.
can hang out if you want.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we do not have to hang out.
No, we don't have to do the whole
a
trip.
family vacation together.
But I think that for 2 days we
would be in the same place, and we could like have dinners together
exactly.
and like watch.
And then
this
we
thing.
start who knows where and go places. But I'm perfectly good with doing a couple days around the eclipse.
Oh sure. Hey
together.
man, if we're in the same town at some point, I would love to hang out.
Agreed.
But don't wait on me.
Oh no, I'm not going to.
Same thing.
But I do think we should find the place that we want to book for the eclipse. Like that's the first thing
I think
I do.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of like skimmed the island a while ago when my husband and I were talking about doing Spain rather than Greece. And I had looked at Majorca and I kind of ruled it out initially because I wasn't aware that there were flights into the island. But yes, there are.
Yeah.
And when I was looking, it was like, oh, you take a ferry.
You take the 7-hour ferry
overnight.
Yes, it's
in a prison ship.
Yeah,
essentially.
that's not what I'm doing.
I'm not doing that. So I was just like, I won't be going there.
No, I will be
and
flying.
And then I discovered
to the
that there were
islands.
$50 flights, and I was just like, I'm sorry.
That'll do. Yeah, we're good with that. I did see the ferries. There's the high speed ferries still like almost 6 hours. So
that's
the
long.
high speed ferry.
That's too long.
That is too long.
We didn't even take the ferry from Athens to Naxos, and it was like 3 hours and 45 minutes because I was like, 2 of my family members get motion sick.
Yeah.
And we will ruin 2 days of our vacation, the one out there and the one back.
Yeah,
and I
not
was
worth
like,
it.
I don't have time for that.
Yeah. No,
we need to just fly out there and fly back. It's a 45-minute flight.
Exactly. but that's okay because everybody's fine on the plane. So we're good.
Everyone can handle that.
So so it's definitely back in contention. So
Fantastic.
we will revisit when things open up for bookings.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent.
And we already talked about going to see Northern Lights and planning a trip around doing that.
Yep.
And so that's already on the docket as another trip that things that we're traveling to do, because that's the theme of this conversation.
What do we travel for? Yeah.
I know that you are going to say the same thing. I have definitely done some traveling to go to some concerts. Mostly semi-local, Milwaukee, Madison, Wisconsin, some of that, St. Louis.
Yeah. On mine and my husband's list, though, is to go see a concert at Red Rock.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
cool.
hasn't been done yet, but we definitely will be at some point.
That's pretty cool.
So that's,
I'm
a flight.
go ahead and say I don't necessarily need to see the concert, but I would like to see the Sphere show because I think it messes with your mind.
Oh, yeah. I just want to see the Sphere. Like, I just want to go in. I don't even care what's happening inside of it. I just want to go.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too.
Definitely.
I would travel to go to a beer festival. Most notably Oktoberfest in Germany.
Oh, definitely.
But
that's
also
on the list.
possibly the Great Taste, which we have talked about going to a couple of times. I would love to eventually make that dream a reality.
Agreed.
But I feel that way about going to Oktoberfest with you.
Also, same. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely something that has to eventually happen for sure. Yeah.
I learned about a horse race in Siena, which is a town in Italy. They cover all the main road in dirt and they race through the town. It's called Palio.
Cool.
They do it twice a year in the summer. And you literally sit in the square and you
watch the horse races.
It's like, how Chicago has neighborhoods?
Yeah.
Siena has the same thing. And there's like 10 or 12 neighborhoods. I'm going to be wrong about this. Somebody's going to be upset.
Yeah, that's fine. There's neighborhoods.
There's all these neighborhoods in Siena, and each one has their own horse and their own jockey and their own.
Oh, that's cool.
And
So it's all the neighborhoods.
And you wear the gear from your neighborhood, and
I like it.
It is the coolest thing. I would love to go to Palio. It's supposed to be hard to kind of do it as a tourist because it's a very
local.
It's a big source of pride for people who live in the town. So going as kind of an outsider is, I won't say frowned upon. Sure. There's like a section in the city where you can go and watch the race without kind of getting in the way and still enjoy yourself. I would look at doing that because I wouldn't want to
encroach upon any actual neighborhoods. Yeah.
Would I get an Airbnb that's on the track in one of the neighborhoods? Yeah, 100%. For sure. I would do that. Yeah.
No, that's really cool. Yeah. I love unique things like that. Things that are very specific to locations.
Yeah, it's such a random thing, and they've been doing it since the 1300s.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love those kind of very unique. Yeah, I just any of those kind of things I really love. So
I watched a really cool Instagram reel of Carnival in a town in Italy called Via Reggio, where it's Venice is like where everybody wants to go for Carnival in Italy, and they wear the costumes and they do everything. And in Via Reggio, they do this parade. And everybody in the parade, you dress up, but you also make these paper mache floats. And they're I'll show you the video. Yeah. They're just huge and they're unbelievable. And they're all they protest taxes and they make political statements and they share what cause they care about. And it's they're
cool.
the coolest thing. And they do this parade and it's over 3 or 4 nights.
Yeah.
In the town, and it's this little town not far from Florence.
Okay.
I will go there someday. Cool. It is so cool.
That is really cool.
Although my current dream is to spend a lot of time in Italy, so I think I'm going to be able to cross some of this stuff off. I'm not too worried. I'll get there.
No, that's really cool. Yeah, I need to find there needs to be some easy way without researching for days about all these little festival things, but I'm sure a lot of people don't want as many tourists coming there either, so they're not it's not Mardi Gras that everybody goes. So
I think it's funny, the whole tourist anti-tourist argument is really complicated because a country like Italy depends so heavily on tourism.
Mm-hmm.
And and this town not far from Florence, man, getting people to go there and visit for a couple of days a year to go to this has got to be
bring in a ton.
huge.
Yeah.
And I assume that there's a way to respectfully attend.
You don't want to be the
local
offensive
event.
tourist ever,
Yes.
let alone and something that's revered locally as important.
Yeah,
So,
and I think sometimes the way to do that is to leave your kids at home.
Fair.
And not always.
No,
I
but
don't think
sometimes
that's
it's not a
always the case.
kid-friendly thing.
But I think that when you're talking about something possibly like this, or even the horse race, like I think that you want to make sure that like you're appreciating the event without interfering in any way.
No, I totally agree
And
with
I
that.
feel that way about visiting and some of these things,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. No, those are really cool things. I have no desire really to go to Mardi Gras. That's like
No,
the big
I don't
US
either.
thing, but
I don't want to go to Mardi
that's
Gras.
not something I want to go to, but
Yeah.
a lot of people do travel
Yeah, sure.
for that.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's a thing, and like traveling to New York for New Year's Eve is a big thing. I
Yeah,
also have
I'm
zero
not
desire to
interested
do
in
that.
that either.
Like there's a lot of things that people, huge crowds, travel for those things. I want to do the little obscure things, not the
I know.
big like
I want to go to Majorca for the eclipse.
Yeah, like
It's
I
not
wanna,
that obscure
yeah.
because it's like right now it's such a popular
Yeah,
topic.
but in a year, not as many people are going to
No
be.
one's
all
gonna be
about
talking
it.
about
We're
it.
going to remember, but they're not
I'll
going to remember.
remember.
So yeah, but I don't like the big, huge crowds with millions of people are not my thing. I like the small, like those kind of unique things that are more local with a handful of tourists. Like, that's the stuff that I want to go to.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and one of my best friends spent maybe less than 24 hours. We flew out to Denver. There's this group of podcasters that was having a show, and that was the last show, and she really wanted to go. So we literally just booked flights. We got a hotel. We were there for one night, and we got back on a plane the next day, and
Nice.
we were gone for maybe 24 hours, if that, and to Colorado, and then came back. And
Hey, man.
those kind of things, if you can do it, why not?
I mean,
like,
how fun is that memory, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like
totally
random, but it was fun and it was an experience. Like I'm all about experiences that will be memorable. Like when I'm trying to plan things, it's not about checking every box of the like, what am I supposed to do when I go to this place thing? Like we just got back from New York and New Jersey. It was mostly to visit my brother, but over our spring break. But I want to do things, and I let the kids help with the planning now to find things that'll be memorable for them.
Yeah, sure.
Like my youngest just wanted to get a piece of New York style pizza in Times Square. Like he's like, we're here. This is what I want to do. And I'm like, all right, cool. We can do that. Like,
yeah, sure. Why not?
We'll do some other things too, but like I want to do the things that are memorable to you, regardless of why that is.
Yeah.
But it's something you want, Family is another reason people travel. So whether that's good, bad, or otherwise, that's on the list.
I'm sure I will talk at length about it at some point. My brother and I have begun exploring the possibility of dual citizenship with Italy. And I think a big thing that will come into play for me eventually, if this all plays out, is I would like to visit my relatives that are in southern Italy. I still have a lot of relatives in the town that my ancestors are from.
Oh, okay.
Some of which have graciously offered to help me collect birth certificates and things like that, which I'll need in order to kind of claim my citizenship. And it's a very exciting for me, the idea of going there. I've visited. My dad was really big on us visiting San Lucido, which is the town that my relatives are from. And I loved it. When I was a kid, I wasn't that little. I think I was 7th or 8th grade the first time we went. I called it the best vacation I'd ever gone on. I loved it. We went back, and it was my favorite vacation yet again. We always stayed with the same relatives when we would visit. And, I gave my son the middle name Luigi after the relative that we stayed with in San Lucido because he was just so great and so awesome. And I didn't even know Italian. And this guy had so much charisma and was so fun to hang out with. And I was like, 16.
Yeah.
I didn't want to hang out with anybody.
Right. You didn't even want to hang out with your family then, but.
And I think that I would really enjoy getting back there to see that family. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, we don't keep in contact with any of our family from Italy that I'm aware of anymore. My great aunt might. So my grandma's sister is really all that's left here.
Oh, okay,
so,
sure.
But they would have been related to the people who still live in Italy.
Right.
So that would have been their cousins.
Yeah,
so.
It's pretty slim in that way for me as well. I mean, my father had some, and they're not first cousins. I believe they're second cousins. I'd have to look at a family tree to tell you
Same.
for sure.
I know. Believe me, I get it. Yeah.
Who moved here from Italy.
Okay. Yeah.
And one of them owns Frangella's Italian Imports, the Italian grocery store.
I have cheese from them in my fridge right
Wonderful. I love that. And one of them also kind of lives around the area and is the person I actually reached out to when I was going to start looking into dual citizenship, because she still has brothers and sisters who live in San Lucido, and that's actually who's helping me, her sister's son, who is this kid I met that was like 8 years old when you were there. When I was there and was like getting yelled at by his parents for climbing a tree. I remember it specifically. I haven't mentioned it to him yet.
Oh, you definitely should.
I will.
Definitely.
He does not speak English. He only speaks Italian, and we haven't gotten to the joking around part yet. But we will. I did send him a picture of his mom from my parents' first visit, where she was maybe 10. And and he loved that and said he would share it with her.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, so that's another thing is family reasons for us to travel. I right now in my head it's mostly for my children's sporting events is why I'm traveling. These are not all good reasons. These are just reasons. But right now I'm in the midst of booking travel plans for lacrosse tournaments. So
well, if you haven't booked that weekend in Indianapolis, you probably should, because of that baseball game.
Yeah, we're actually going to camp that weekend.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to camp at the KOA that we stayed at last year.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
That's really good. That's perfect.
Yeah, but we are going to be down there all that weekend.
I know.
So, yeah. What day are you going?
Lauren.
Do you know what day you're going?
I've got tickets for the Friday night. We're talking about Savannah Bananas. I won... Man,
I'm very jealous.
The lottery.
I put in for it, and I did not get any.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't win anything, and I just,
so you're traveling for a sporting event.
This is what I was. This was the last thing on my list that I was going to mention is that at the end of June I'm going to Indianapolis, and the funny thing about it is that I have tickets to the Savannah Bananas game on Friday night, and on Saturday night of the same weekend, we have tickets for AJR in Rosemont. So we have to
book it
drive
back.
down.
Yeah.
So I believe the plan will be to stay in town Friday night.
And then just head home.
And then we'll just go home in the morning.
Sense. So you can totally do that.
And
it's not that bad of a drive.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about travel time. I'm not worried about cutting it close.
No, you'll be
the
fine.
only thing I'm even mildly concerned about is just that everybody's like well rested, because we're going to go to a concert and my kids are both going. So but it is kind of, I was in a bit of a bind because I was worried. I was like, what do I do if only the Saturday night is available? And I decided I would buy them anyway, and I would give them away to all of these people.
We'll be there.
I would probably have just been like, you owe me $135.
Which is fine. But we're here anyway, so...
So,
nice.
Yes. So
that'll be
I'm
fun.
really excited. They only had lawn, so you sit in the outfield lawn, which is fine. I'm not mad about that at all.
No,
They were $35, which is nothing.
Which is also nothing.
You still get concessions and everything. You're able to bring in, a blanket to sit on, just like a concert lawn seat. You can even bring in a small cooler.
Oh, nice.
Which is
that's
great.
Actually cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can just bring bottles of water.
Yeah. Just
snacks
basic stuff. Oh,
and,
nice.
And
you'll have to tell me how it is,
food.
unless I manage to get off the wait list by then. But I doubt it. So,
man. I mean, I got an email like 30 minutes after I bought that all 3 nights were sold out.
Yeah. Well, luckily you got
Well, yeah. So,
but anyways, another reason, sports, weather.
If I could have bought more tickets, my friend, I would have certainly done it. But trust me, I would have bought the maximum.
Oh yeah,
that was the plan. Yeah. No matter what,
of course, because you can always get them.
Whatever the maximum is,
you can get somebody to give. Them,
I will
to take those.
Get those tickets given away.
Yeah, sports events. I mean, some people travel like they try and go to every MLB stadium.
Oh yeah.
Or obviously for championships and stuff, like the Super Bowl is the big one that recently.
I went to New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl when U of I was playing in it against LSU. Yeah. It was a bloodbath, but I had fun.
Yeah, but sports are spring training. A lot of people travel to Arizona for baseball for spring training.
Well, and I went to preseason football for the Bears and the Packers over the years.
Yeah.
Many years ago, I went to the Bears when they were in Platteville.
Yep. Oh man, yeah, forever.
I know.
Yeah.
I actually found the booklet that I got and it has football player signatures in it. Nobody good. Sorry, guys. I think I got like the kicker. It's not Robbie Gold. It's too long ago to be Robbie, even though he's a million.
But not. It was
because I was a child.
When we were kids, it was bad timing. Like, it wasn't. Not good.
There weren't any 85 Bears there, you guys.
No.
It was because I'm too.
You were too young then.
Yeah. So I was older. When we went, so it was past.
They were
85.
bad.
It was in the early 90s, and they were not
very
good.
Yeah, but so sports, whether it be your kids' sports or visiting and seeing sports, or like Hall of Fames. Like my friend went to the Football Hall of Fame, and my husband and I we went to Toronto, before kids, and went to the Hockey Hall of Fame, and like. Those kind of things. The other thing that I thought of was alumni events. So
sure.
When you go to college and then you go back to visit to do things like that. And then the only other thing that we've traveled for, or a couple of things we've traveled for, is wonders of the world type things. Like the Grand Canyon we went, and we're going to go to Niagara Falls or Glacier National Park, or things that are unique that you can only see because there's one of them.
Well, I felt that way about the Colosseum in Rome.
Oh yeah.
And it drove me insane. How difficult it was to get tickets to go to quite possibly one of the greatest architectural achievements in history.
Right.
And I can't go inside with my children? What am I doing here? Am I literally going to walk by and not go in?
No, you have to.
I just could not grasp the concept of not going. I was like, I will stay up all night.
Yeah. To get these tickets. No, it was much easier years ago to get them though.
Well,
because
they've actually made it, just in case anyone is wondering, there's a new service provider for tickets, and they're on a different website.
Okay.
And starting in May, so if you can buy tickets 30 days in advance, and so starting like April 1st for May 1st, a new provider took over, and I've heard it's
better.
Easier.
Okay.
My brother was in Rome for spring break, and they got tickets to the Colosseum, and it wasn't too bad.
Good.
I think summer is definitely harder than even spring break.
Agreed.
But
no, that's.
But I think it's settling down.
Good.
Weird Colosseum chaos, as I would call it.
That's good. So those are some of the reasons we've traveled. I guess the last one one of the last ones that I will say is that there's lots of people that travel to try to get to all 7 continents.
Oh, yeah.
So just to kind of check them off the list. That's not something I'm ever aspiring to do.
I don't think I'm going to do that.
But what my family is trying to do is get to all 50 states.
Yeah.
So, we're at 17, I think,
that's really
so far.
Good, man.
The twins are only 9, so.
That's really
awesome. We're planning a trip to Iowa because we have an extra weekend, and there's not much in Iowa.
Do?
We're gonna go to the Field of Dreams because my kid wants to do that. We're gonna do the aquarium. We're gonna do a couple of things. August. So
cool.
Yeah, but
cool.
So we're gonna check that off. But like, there's a bunch of states that I'm like, I don't even know what's in this state that, or like, what's in Rhode Island? There's like, you can drive around Rhode Island and
no
like,
idea.
Probably
I don't know anything about
like,
the East Coast. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, but like those states up there,
the
I'm
little
like,
5 in the corner.
Like Rhode Island is the littlest. I don't even know how big it is, but when you consider it takes you like 7 hours to drive just in through Illinois, and it takes like no time to drive through Rhode Island. I don't know what there's going to be, but we want to hit all the states at some point. So the goal eventually is to get to all of them.
A lot of Dunkin' Donuts out there. I think that's what they have.
I don't know, but we're going to try.
Well, you could go to that Millinocket, Maine.
Maine.
The northern.
Yeah.
That place where they have Northern Lights cameras sometimes
that
you and I
park.
discussed.
Yep.
Yeah. Their stargazing looks really good. I
Yeah.
follow them a little bit online, and I haven't seen Northern Lights show up very much.
Sure.
But their
have a lot of
stargazing
stars,
is really, really
Yeah.
awesome.
At some point, we will probably take the camper and do like a week or 2 long trip and just
Try
two
to hit
nights in like each of these tiny states.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
Like get all of the New Hampshire, the Vermont, Connecticut, Rhode Island, like all of that.
This is a
and
reason
hit
to
Maine.
travel. It's just to check the boxes and also to kind of experience all of these places.
That's
what
the goal.
are you gonna do in like Mississippi and Alabama though? I mean, I guess you could go to Gulf Shores.
Gulf Shores, we're gonna do Alabama. So not only are we trying to hit all 50 states, but we're trying to take the camper to as many states as we can too.
Man.
You can camp on the beach in Gulf Shores. So there's a state park that you can get campsites that you open your door and you walk out to sand.
That's pretty sweet.
So that's
I was
what
looking
we're gonna
at
do
off
for
of
Alabama.
Gulf Shores. They have some little like islands that you can stay at, and I was sort of passively looking at that because, as I've mentioned many times, my kids are obsessed with the idea of going to islands.
Yes.
And when you live in Illinois, I'm not sure if you know this,
There's not a lot of islands.
there's not a bunch
You
in
should go
driving
to Tybee
distance.
off of Savannah, and Tybee's it's beach. There's some cute, quaint little places. There's even
Nice.
a hotel. There's restaurants.
Savannah, you say?
Savannah. You
That's
drive
interesting. That's a town I would like to visit
Savannah. It's
for many reasons.
It's right from there. When I went with girlfriends, we spent
I know
2
you went
nights
for,
on
like,
Tybee.
for
and we
St. Patrick's Day.
We've been there a couple times, but yeah, St.
Yeah.
Patrick's Day was one. So which was crazy. It's like the biggest St. Patrick's Day celebration in the
you
U.S.,
said
which
that.
is insane. Mostly because you can open carry, and there is.
We're talking about alcohol, right?
Oh yeah,
No.
Sorry. Maybe guns too. It is. I mean, it's Georgia,
Sorry, it's just
so
the way you
it could be
said
either.
I was just like, that's why it's the biggest St.
Alcohol.
Patrick's Day, because you can open carry.
You can walk around with your big giant
Open
alcoholic
container.
slushy, and
There.
yeah, and one of their their river walk is just cobblestone, and there's bars and restaurants, and so it's a really cool. It's just a cool area. But right off of Savannah is Tybee Island, and it's an island, and you can go and you just drive over there, and it's pretty chill. I wouldn't go anywhere near St. Patrick's Day, but other times of year. It was very relaxing and pleasant.
Awesome.
So add it to your list of islands.
Yeah, I will. I will. That list is
Georgia is on our
complicated.
list. Yeah, there's definitely some states that I have not yet researched. So Iowa's easy and close.
Yeah,
so we're going to do that. And because our kids aren't going back to school till really late this year.
Oh, okay.
Because they were supposed to be finishing construction on the main road by the middle school and the junior high, but now because of NICOR, it's not going to be finished anytime soon. So they actually pushed back our start for no good reason. But we're going to go on another camping trip because we got time. So
I love that for you.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
so we're gonna do
Honestly, all of the things I ever look at, it's like half of them happen in August. And I'm always kind of like, oh, we should go in August. And then I'm like,
Oh crap, school.
But they have to go to
They have to
school.
go back.
And like my
Yeah.
son does band camp in August. And not, I don't
Yeah.
want to like say that's
We're
not
not
important.
blaming it on them, yeah, but kind of.
But I'm
blaming
also
it on
like,
them.
do I really want him to miss all of band camp? Because I like selfishly planned a vacation for that exact same week.
That
like,
is a
I
bummer.
don't know. That
Yeah.
seems like it was intentional.
Yeah, no,
So
I
I
get
try not
it.
to do that.
I
So
know. Yeah, we try and manage around our kids' activities, but sometimes it's hard. But yeah, we're also gonna do Niagara Falls. We are piggybacking on my son's lacrosse tournament, which is in north of Detroit. So we have to drive like 5.5 hours to go to this lacrosse tournament. Which some people fly, but what we're going to do is we're going to drive and take the camper, and then we're going to drive the 4 hours to Niagara Falls from there, because it's a heck of a lot closer. We're already more than halfway. So why
Wow.
not?
Yeah,
So,
that's not bad.
Yeah, so then we're just going to hop through Canada, and
You guys all have passports?
we've all applied for them. So
Oh, fantastic.
Yes,
Oh,
and-
you'll be fine.
yeah, and the kids are already in process. I mean, me and
That's-
my husband have, but we applied for all the kids. They're already in process. The checks are cashed, so they're
Oh, yeah.
so they're
Well,
coming.
I've heard they're going very fast now.
Yeah, so we'll have them soon because we applied for them.
I always am
Almost.
like, do you have your passport?
Yeah, we applied for them like 3 weeks ago, so it wouldn't surprise me if I got them in the next month. So
Oh, yeah, you will.
Yeah,
You
for sure.
will.
So I'm not
Even
concerned
when
at
they
all.
were really behind, I mean, we applied for passports in like the first week of December, and they came like the second week of January. And I didn't expedite.
I didn't
because-
expedite. We don't need them until like July, so
Oh, yeah,
I'm not
no.
worried about it at all. But yeah, so we'll all have passports, which means the next 5 years we need to use them, right? So
Yeah.
so Spain seems
Dude,
like a great idea.
Everyone in my family has a passport that is brand spanking
Exactly.
new,
So-
a year old.
Yep.
I plan on winning
I'm
that
gonna
thing out.
utilize it as much as
I
we
want
can.
to run out of space.
Yep. So yeah. So we will use youth sports as a jumping off point for one of our.
I do like that.
trips.
I will say
So-
one last thing. Although we didn't talk about, let's talk about
We'll
the
talk about the
porter.
beer that we're currently drinking.
Billy
We're drinking it
Porter.
anyways.
Lauren and I have been sipping on it for like at least 10 minutes while talking here
Yeah,
without saying anything.
A smooth dark ale. It is a smooth dark ale. It's actually pretty tasty and it's pretty smooth.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You know, first sip I was a little taken aback. It had maybe just a smidge of like an acidic hit.
It's a little bitter. It has a little
and
bitterness
I don't,
to it to me.
I don't want to attribute that to saying that it has like a coffee flavor,
It
but it's got similar
doesn't have a-
qualities.
which is the weird part, because I then picked it up and I was like, "Is this
Oh, it's
coffee?"
like a coffee?
No, it's not. It doesn't
I think
have
it
it.
just has similar qualities
Yeah.
to coffee
Yeah.
itself, not a coffee.
It doesn't taste like
adjuncted
coffee,
beer.
but it has the bitterness to where
Yeah.
a porter with coffee has, like
Yes.
that kind of
I
flavor.
100%
to it.
agree.
But it's pretty tasty. Like I'm sitting here and
I
I'm
know,
enjoying
yeah,
it.
I'm
so-
enjoying this. The last trip with an agenda that I would list would be something I've brought up to you before is Christmas in a castle. I've done a lot of research on this subject,
nice.
found a wide variety of options. Going to a castle in Europe for Christmas is not totally uncommon. It's a lot more common in Scotland
Okay.
and like the UK. There's a lot of places there that do like packages, like Christmas packages.
Okay, interesting.
They're very, very expensive.
sure.
It's like $5,000 a person.
That's out. I'm
And
out
it's
on
not
that.
for a week. It's for like Christmas.
It's
like,
yeah,
a
for
couple
like
of
2 days.
for one person.
Yeah,
it's-
no, I'm good.
Very expensive, but you do stay in a castle, which is cool, and you get to have Christmas feast and Christmas Eve, and they do Christmas rituals, all of the traditions
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you're
yeah.
used
Which
to,
is cool, yeah.
which is cool.
Yeah.
I would liken it to being on like a themed cruise, except you're on land.
Yeah.
But
Fair.
I
Yeah,
think
no,
it's
I can understand
similar
that.
to that type of feeling. I'm obviously more of a do-it-myselfer.
Yeah. You
in
don't
a
need to
lot
buy
of
the
ways.
package. Yeah.
I found a couple of castles in Salzburg, Austria. I've been to Salzburg. It's the birthplace of Mozart, if you're wondering. I met Hillary Clinton there one time from across the street, but my dad did shout at her, and she did turn around and say hi to us. Not in a disrespectful way. He
Yeah,
just
yeah.
went, "Hey, Hillary!" And she turned around and waved because
Yeah.
she was surprised to see Americans.
That's fair. Yeah.
This was when I was in like high school, so her
It's
husband
been
was
a bit-
president.
Yeah, gotcha. Timing wise was vastly different than now.
Yeah, it's not
Not the
current Hillary. This is a long time ago.
Yeah,
But yes, I loved the town. It's beautiful. It's close to a couple of other nice places. It's not hard to go from like Munich, for example, in Germany to Salzburg. So you could kind of turn it into a week, maybe a week-long
couple
trip where you
stops.
do like 3 nights in Munich and 4 nights in Salzburg and then come home. And
Yeah.
I really, really want to go on this trip. I mentioned it to my brother's family, and they are practically going without us if we don't go in the next 2 years. They will go without us. I have talked them out of going this coming Christmas
year, so
and
that you have
giving
some
me
time.
some time to get it sorted.
Yes.
Because my husband currently works at a job that blacks out vacation
Ugh.
during those times, which is a source of displeasure for me.
Yes, that's fair.
Because my brother and I run a business together, and our business is very slow from about Thanksgiving to about the middle of January.
Okay.
Not the whole time and
Sure.
not consistently
But
always.
it's not as busy
but
as...
it's quiet.
Yeah.
If we were to even go so far as to close the shop for the week between Christmas and New Year's, I don't expect that would
Really
create
impact
a
much.
whole lot of a problem for
Yeah.
us. My biggest hesitation is giving the employees the time off without compensating them, since most are hourly. I'd probably just pay them for the time.
Yeah.
Because we already pay people for the holiday, and we would make our trip work out that we would obviously be gone Christmas Eve, Christmas Day in the span of a weekend.
And if you give them the holidays, the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day are both during the week this year, and New Year's Day is during the week.
Yeah,
so it might only
exactly.
be like 4 days.
Well, exactly.
Like,
so I would probably, and my staff is like 6 people, so
Right.
we're not talking about thousands and thousands of
so
dollars.
like 4 days for a handful of people feels like it'd be
I could
reasonable,
probably
yeah.
just give them the money.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah. No, that's fair.
so we would probably close, maybe open one, like stay open one of the days just to have crew in to kind of like do a little catch up or just do some work.
But it'd be reasonable for you guys to go.
But we could be gone. It's easy for my brother and I, and my brother and I do not really have the opportunity to travel together
Not
with the
often.
way that
Yeah.
we have the business set up.
Yep.
It's really hard even for one of us to be missing. My brother was gone for 10 days over spring break. It was absolute chaos. Tori, if you listen to this episode, I'm glad you had fun. It was super fun at work while you were gone. I had a super fun time. I didn't struggle at all. I didn't work late.
She's lying.
It was super easy. It was beach party. It was like a beach party at work. It was so fun. Everyone was great.
Now he's going to go more often. Don't tell
I
him
didn't want to
this.
fire everybody and do it all myself. That's for sure. No.
Well, I hope that you guys manage this castle over Christmas
That is a
trip
that is a
at some
goal of
point.
mine that I'm really hoping plays out. And I struggle because I don't see, like, it's one thing to plan an eclipse visit to Majorca
Yes,
knowing this is when it is, and we either
There's
do it or we
only
don't
option.
do it.
Yeah, there's not.
And if we're
it's
not
not
gonna do
flexible
it,
on timing.
Yeah, but we know when. So
Yes.
if I'm going to do it, that is going to be my big vacation that year.
Yes.
That year is covered. That's what I'm doing.
Yep.
And it's done.
Agreed.
But with the Christmas in Salzburg plan, it's sort of like, well, I have this brilliant idea where we can stay in a castle, and the tower holds 13 people.
Oh, nice.
Which is my entire family.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I got it pretty situated. They have, like, feast, and they have, like, the tobogganing, and they got skiing as an option, and you're
Nice.
staying in the town so you can go out to meals. And there's snow, and there
So
might be
many
Krampus
options.
is there.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big fan.
Krampus is cool. I
Yeah.
want to go to a Krampus parade. I mean,
Yeah, big
you
fan.
know, I
Totally
hope it's
would.
scary.
That-
I also would like it if the castle was haunted. That would be great. I would be scared, genuinely scared, but I would still enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. No, I'd be fine with that. Yeah. No, all of these things
But
sound
yeah,
great.
it stresses me
Yeah.
out a little bit, though, that I don't know if or when it will happen. Because I would
Yeah.
love for it to happen, but I also don't want to put my husband in a position where he's like, I will never get promoted if I go on vacation
Right.
between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of like, yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of stuck. So, well, who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But it does sound amazing. So hopefully, knock on wood.
Yes.
Things work
I do think that dream will become realized someday.
Sure.
I hope it's sooner rather than later, but someday
Yes.
is my hope.
I like it. All right, we have so many things to think about and plan.
So many trips I want to take. It's overwhelming.
Yes. But I like having something to look forward to. So
Yeah,
I think it's
totally.
okay. So, all right.
All right. Well, we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks, everyone, for listening to the latest musings from Parenting by the Pint.
Be sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and make sure that you rate, review, and subscribe to us wherever you find your podcasts.
Have a great week, and cheers to you all.